Welcome everyone to the latest instalment of this radio controlled Airwolf. This is based on a 50 scale fuselage for the Trek 600 electric mechanics. The idea with this Airwolf is to try and make it have as many of the scale features of the real Airwolf. We've put in retractable undercarriage, which will be operated off a single channel. Eventually we'll have extendable and retractable side guns on the nacelles, but the current project is to try and install a workable ADF pod to the bottom of the fuselage, one that can actually withdraw back into the fuselage and then extend when we need it. This mechanism is proving to be quite complicated. I take off the doghouse, you can see what's been going on inside. So basically what we have is a trapdoor in the bottom of the fuselage with a slidable door that runs backwards and forwards on rails. That's driven by a servo in the front, 270-degree Savox servo, about 15 kilos worth of torque on that, going down onto a reduction gearbox and onto a pulley system to open the door, and then closure is by way of tension springs in the back. That's the first part of the mechanism. The second part of the mechanism is to extend the ADF pod through the floor, and for that we have the ADF pod mounted on a side frame that sits above the trapdoor mechanics, and that's driven by 4 mini MG 90S Metal Gear servos, 2 of them running in reverse so that you get the same orientation of movement off a single channel. So essentially what we have is 2 separate channels to operate one mechanism. For that we need some sort of a sequencer to make sure that the ADF pod doesn't try and extend down through the floor while the door is closed. I've been playing around with a number of different sequencers, notably the sequencer from Hobby King. This is supposed to be an adjustable sequencer, but I found it to be pretty crude in its operation. The Asan sequencer, the digital sequencer that you may have come across, is slightly more intelligent, but I found it incredibly difficult to actually program. So my research has taken me to this little device, which is a wonderful piece of kit made by Hando Computers in South Korea. It's a fully programmable landing gear and door sequencer. It's 7 channel. You can see here we've got channels 1 through to 7, with the 8th pin is actually the power loop that supplies power to it when you're not running it off a receiver. And the beauty of this device is that it is completely programmable through the computer with adjustable speed and end stop limits for the servos. Now it's taken a bit of time to get this set up. Basically what we have is the unit connected via a micro USB cable to a laptop, and this program to allow you to manipulate the settings comes with the unit. It's very easy to use. You have the down operation program and the up operation program, and your list of macro commands to choose from in the command list, and you're basically using a drop and drag approach. Create your command sequence. You can see here you can adjust the servo speed, you can select time delays before certain operations happen. So what we have here is the downward program to operate the ADF pod. We have on channel 5, just move the screen, channel 5, we've got the ADF fuselage door. Then we've got a time delay of 1.5 seconds before the operation of two separate channels driving either side of the ADF pod on channels 6 and 7, and they're both on a speed reduction of about 50% to allow it to look more scale. And then on the other side, for the up operation, we have the same set of commands in reverse. And what that allows us to do, move back to the unit, it allows us to control the timing between the trapdoor opening and the ADF pod extending, and also the stop and end points, so we ensure we don't have any mishaps in the mechanics. And if we run the program, I'll try and show you roughly what happens from inside. And then in reverse. It's a little bit crude at the moment, the wiring's all over the place, but we'll neaten that up in time. If we look from underneath, I'll try and position this so you can see roughly what is happening. I'll try and position the helicopter so you can actually see the trapdoor in the bottom. Bear with me for a second. So, having turned the helicopter on its side, you can see the trapdoor properly, and we will now operate the downward mechanism. And the upward mechanism. We've got slight clearance on the door to allow it to open. And that's basically it, folks. Now this unit has enough spare channels on it to be able to control the side nacelle guns and also the gun extension mechanisms on separate servos when that arises. So basically what we'll end up with is one unit controlled through one channel, which operates the complex ADF pod sequence and also the complex side gun nacelle sequence off one switch on the transmitter. So well worth getting your hands on one of these if you can. They're about £10 and one of the best £10 you'll ever spend.